With over 85 days left, this election has taken many by surprise. Kamala Harris now at 52% odds to win the election. Is this just all hype or is this actually some substance to this? Hey guys, what's up everyone? Baseball's back at it again. And today we're going to take a look at really what's going on between all the hype for Kamala Harris that's been going on in the last couple of days even. It seems like she's been going up in the polls steadily, that we all know. But she's really been making a jump ever since the last couple of days. She's just overtaken Trump, and it seems like she could just be getting away with this. Now, in my past videos, I mentioned that this is pretty similar to what happened with Hillary Clinton, except obviously Hillary Clinton had gone through an actual process to get, elected to be a candidate, whereas your Kamala Harris has not answered a single question in about, I would say, 3 weeks. Biden at this point has done more interviews than Kamala Harris, so that's just the state that we're at right now. But really, where the main hype of all this is coming is actually the swings, the Rust Belt states right here: Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Uh, if you were to look at Michigan, you wouldn't even think this is a swing state right now. Harris is at 64% odds to win the state, and Trump is at 37. That's not even a swing state at that point. I'm not really sure how they did the math on that. But okay, leave Michigan out of it. Wisconsin was the only state that Polymarket had for Trump to win out of the Rust Belt states. This doesn't even seem close at all. And then now you have Pennsylvania. So Trump is not even hitting at 45% odds to win any of these states. It seems like he's pretty much securing the Sun Belt, except just take a look at Nevada. Trump had a pretty good control over it until Harris actually copied one of his policies that Trump has, which is no tax on tips. So this is here where Nate Silver's 538, and he's just showing kind of the progression on each state and how it's changed. Look at Nevada. Trump has pretty much for most of August. I mean, every state's his lead's been going down, but even until August 5th, he was leading until Kamala Harris just announced she would pretty much be copying Trump's policy, no tax on tips. And this is huge for Nevada, obviously. Huge hospitality industry. And this was a state that, could give a huge boost for Trump. But it's not too much in the electoral math, but still, it's a state you don't really want Kamala to be ahead, and she's ahead on that. Look at all the Rust Belt states. Kamala just pulls ahead. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I mean, Michigan just seemed like, wow, she just took a crazy lead. If you look at some of the other Sun Belt states, you look at Arizona, he's still pulling a decent lead, although here he's actually lagging. Nate Silver has him lagging. And then you look at Arizona, Georgia, even. It seems like the same story is going to happen where Trump has a lead and he's going to lose it. And like I said, it could be something with his campaign, which we'll be getting into. There might be some changes to his campaign that's going to happen in the next couple of days. I know he has an interview with Elon Musk shortly. And just look at this right here. This is where all the change is coming from. These three Rust Belt states. Weekly change by point 0.1 or plus 1% basis points or 0.8% basis points that he's changed or that Harris is gaining a lead in the polls. Some of the other states, it's very negligible. It doesn't really make a huge difference. But look at the month change. Michigan plus 7.6. I don't know who's really polling this, but it's definitely, like I said, I just don't think it's as accurate. I think it's just shaping a lot of the public opinion because what happened with Hillary Clinton was it was a lot of just public opinion or lack of public opinion of Trump. People didn't come in and vote, and that's what you had end up happening. Let's look at here, real clear polling. And this, guys, it wasn't clickbait. You see most of the polls, they have Harris up. Now, some of it's just my plus one, which is really margin of error at that point. 0.5 is the average. But a lot of them, they got Harris up plus 3, plus 4. Very few of them even have Trump, with any good chance to win. Remember, the 7 swing states are going to consist of Rust Belt states, which are these 3 states, and then the Sun Belt states, these 4 states down here. And let's zoom out, actually, guys. If we just zoom out here to like a 1-year snapshot, let's just go all the way back to the beginning of this year, January. I mean, this is when the primaries were going on, and Trump didn't even have to debate, and he pretty much had a good sizable lead up until he had gotten convicted, and all those court cases were going on. But then that debate happened around here around June, and I mean Trump just took a skyrocketing lead right here. He was just breaking away. Assassination attempt happens here, gets that little boost, and then Biden withdraws from the race, and it's just a completely different. It's like a completely different graph right here. Harris just goes vertical. She goes to the moon at this point, and a lot of folks are saying that Trump's got to step it back in the campaign. That this is insane, but remember, Kamala Harris has zero policies on her website. She hasn't taken a single interview. Uh, this is the national polling. What's going on? Let's even just look at some of the swing states. You look at like a Wisconsin, same story here. I mean, it's just like Biden's plummeting to the point where it's not a swing state, and now Harris is gaining a lead, and it seems like she's going to keep gaining a lead to where it might not even be a swing state. I mean, like Michigan, you look at how drastic the lead is. I mean, compared to maybe Biden, but it's getting there. Look at that. So these are how the polls are going. This is real clear polling, a little bit better, I think, in my opinion, not as biased per se. So that's always something that we have to look out for when we're looking at these polls. Even Nate Silver, who leads Project 538 and is, like I said, pretty well known for polling, he's been on the record saying that this seems like a media frenzy. Pretty much the DNC is going to start in 9 days, and each party is going to get a boost in their polls. So she's going to continue to get a boost. It seems like they're doing that. And pretty much even once it stretches into Labor Day, the traditional stretch will run off the campaign, and there will probably be a difficult news cycle or two for Harris, which is pretty much why the Trump campaign is asking for more debates. It's wants more opportunities to trip her up. It's possible she just speed runs her way through November 5th. That's essentially the strategy of the Trump campaign, but it's not working because Kamala is ducking and avoiding every single interview that comes her way. And when it was the national election, we just take a look back at the national polling. The post assassination RNC was after the post assassination attempt, right? So he was really riding that momentum, but Biden withdrawing killed all that momentum because all the polling data had to be shifted. Campaign strategy might have to slightly be shifted, and then the media is going to harp on new kind of attacks or new strategies to go against the Trump campaign, and pretty much you see what's going on here. So the momentum's going to keep going, guys, but at the end of the day, the debates is really, and that's why Trump wants the debates in September. A lot of guys were saying that, well, maybe shouldn't keep it in September. A lot can happen between that election. But the thing is, she's going to keep riding momentum off of absolutely nothing. Even Nate Silver was saying that this just almost seems hypocritical. It just almost seems like Biden's age was a huge issue in this election. And now Harris campaign is trying to put Trump's age as an issue, but it's not going to get any mileage because they thought Biden could run until he really couldn't run. And now they put a candidate that never got any votes. And so, how does this really affect the map here? That's what we really want to look at. And like I said, the Rust Belt says if the polls stay true, which are very good reason to believe it's not true, and we'll get into that later. Right now, Harris is going to sweep the Rust Belt states. Which wins are the election? None of these other four states matter. I mean, that's how crucial this Rust Belt is. You can't avoid it. You have to pick one if you're Trump. So if you lose any of these states, you're done. The rest of the states don't even matter. It doesn't even come into play at that point. And they're saying that Harris can't even pull in Nevada for good measure. But I don't think he's going to pull three of these states. The problem is these three states vote in a similar fashion, but I will say PA is going to be a little bit interesting. You had obviously the assassination attempt happen there, a little bit more coverage there, and they're going to be against a lot of the energy policies that Kamala stands for. So we put that as Republican. Okay, fine. That's really a huge state that Trump just needs to win. I mean, Wisconsin, Michigan, they're not as much electorally. So now here's where it gets interesting. So I'm going to put Nevada still as a toss up. North Carolina, I'm just not seeing the map that Harris gets. Arizona can be tough. We all know what happened with the mayor endorsing Harris. So it really comes down to these three states now 251 to 254. Nevada could go Democrat, really. I mean, it was always plus for them. I mean, if we look at the 2020 election, Nevada was up by 3 points. It's a little bit tough. They were only up because of the no tax on tip policies, but it seems like Harris is going for that route. So we gonna give Nevada to Harris. And it comes out to these two states now. And they were some of the most razor thin margins in the last election. You had Arizona by zero point 0.4 basis points, Georgia by zero point 0.3. Right. So he's still leading in the polls. Look at Poly Market. I mean, Georgia, still pretty sizable odds right there. About 8% odds. Arizona's a little bit less. So if you give Trump Arizona or Georgia, he wins the election. So he really just needs to win one of these two states. And then Harris, she pulls off in Arizona, it's going to be a 270 to 268 win, which is very likely. And some MAGA guys are saying that's not how the election is going to pan out. It's going to be a red wave. But that's just the best case scenario. I mean, I really believe this election is going to come down to 2 to 4 to 6 votes. And this, I believe, could be Trump's most realistic scenario. He pulls PA. He just needs one of these states out of the Rust Belt. It has the most electoral votes. And then he pulls a Georgia, which I mean, listen, compared to an Arizona, it could be his best chance. Although I will have to say Arizona has, a lot to do with illegal immigration in terms of their intensity for voting. So I wouldn't rule out Arizona, even if he does lose at Georgia. The problem is Trump would still have to win Nevada because he loses the election by 8 votes. And if he could pull out in Nevada, let's say, he would win the election by 4 votes. So the only pathway he has this is if he secures PA, and then if you look at the Sun Belt, he either secures two of these states, Nevada or Arizona, or if he doesn't, he wins Georgia because it's about as much electorally as these two states. Very tough scenario, but that's the way the polls are going. Even if the polls are wrong by +3, +2.5 percentage points, this is how I think the map's going to look out. Now, I have every reason to believe the polls aren't going to be accurate. I mean, just look at the Huffington Post from 2016. Our pollsters give Hillary Clinton a 98.1 percentage chance of winning the presidency. It's just not. Listen, the problem with 2016 was the polls were really shaping a lack of opinion. It wasn't just opinion, it was a lack of opinion. Voters, I think it's going to be a repeat of 2016 in two factors, in the sense that voters aren't going to be that electrified to go for Harris. Remember, for a lot of the independents that are hardcore, really do represent the country, Democratic, they're not a fan of the fact that Harris got plugged in the election 3 months out, or 3 months, 3 months out, really. And she just gets a huge surge without doing a single interview. You don't think the independents are going to know that? That's what I have a hard time believing, in all honesty. So, you know, that's going to be a huge factor. They're not going to go to the polls. And the thing is, Harris is riding momentum. I'm not saying Clinton necessarily rode momentum. She actually did put in the work. And funny, Mar-a-Lago, Trump said that it was one of the smartest opponents he ran out of all the other ones, which isn't much saying much. So, that is something that you're going to have to take into account. Two factors. People aren't going to be out there to vote. So, yes, Harris is there. They're going to vote for her more than Biden. But people, those independents, which is really what we want to focus on, they're not going to be a fan of the fact that she was just put in. Kamala Harris is in, swing polls. She's, I guess, doing better than Obama's campaign. Crazy, because Obama actually did interviews. Right here, Trump was saying that, honeymoon period's ending. She just copied the taxes on tip policy, and now she's leading in Nevada, giving her a huge edge. Because if Trump could get Nevada and Arizona, he doesn't even need a Georgia. Kamala has proposed the largest tax increase in history, so it's just an election ploy. Remember, J.D. Vance says she's a chameleon. That's what she's going to do. The Saturday polls, I'm not clickbaiting, guys. This is what the polls are like. Like I said, Trump, some are saying he's delusional, but Trump's got to keep it front. I mean, what is he going to say? He's losing. Wow. So very insane what's going on. If you actually look at this video, I don't know it was up here. Kamala Harris is telling Americans not to pay attention to the polls. Look at this.
We know this will be a tight race until the very end. And so let's not pay too much attention to the polls. We know.
I agree, Harris. We really don't need to pay too much attention to the polls because I don't think they're right. Uh, and I think a lot of other pundits don't think they're right either. Harris, by the way, if you just see the way she's campaigning, I don't even think she's talked about substance yet, which is why I don't think this election is really substantive. So, like I said, that doesn't mean that the Trump campaign doesn't have to worry about a lot of things. I think there's a lot of messaging. I think there's a lot of wording, messaging that they need to work on. So, my takeaways, guys, is don't pay too much attention because this is only going to get worse from here. The DNC momentum, she's going to carry to Labor Day weekend. She's going to carry it like crazy. And then watch when the debates happen. That's when we really have to put an eye out for what goes on here. And then afterwards, like I said, we're going to see what happens on November 5th, biggest day of this country. Go out and vote, and we'll see what happens. 85 days left, guys. Please give a like and subscribe if you want more election-based and political-based content. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.